Let me ask you a very simple question. Your school has a skill lab. CBSE mandated it. You set it up. You spent money on equipment. You purchased materials. Or you assigned a teacher to. And now, honestly, how often is that room actually being used for real learning? If your answer includes phrases like mostly closed, occasionally used, or open mainly during inspections, are not alone. In fact, what I am about to discuss is something I have seen repeatedly in schools across India. The problem is not that skill labs are a bad idea. Actually, skill labs are one of the best initiatives introduced in recent years. The problem is that most schools were never shown how to make them work effectively. When implementation is unclear, even the best ideas struggle. So today I'm going to explain exactly why skill labs fail in many schools. More importantly, I'm going to share what teachers and principals can do to fix the problem. And stay with me till the end because I will give you a simple 5-step roadmap that any school can start implementing immediately. Skill labs do not fail because of lack of money. They fail because of lack of systems. So let's begin. Reason number 1. Nobody really owns the skill lab. One of the biggest reasons skill labs fail is surprisingly simple. Nobody truly owns them. When CBSE introduced skill labs, many schools did what schools often do when a new mandate arrives. They assigned the responsibility to someone, usually a teacher who had some availability or the available periods, or someone who simply could not refuse. That teacher suddenly became the skill lab in charge. But very often there was no training, no implementation plan, no clear expectations, and no support. Ownership is not assignment. Ownership is investment. Ownership means the teacher understands the purpose of the skill lab. Ownership means the principal actively reviews and supports its functioning. Ownership means students understand why they are there and what they are expected to learn. When ownership is missing, the skill labs becomes nobody's priority. And when something is nobody's priority, it slowly becomes everybody's problem. Reason number 2. Teachers are expected to run skill labs without training. Talk about something that teachers will immediately relate to. Many schools expect teachers to run skill labs without ever training them to do so. A new room, new equipment, new expectations, and completely different style of teaching. And yet, no training. This is unfair to teachers. A skill lab is not a traditional classroom. In a regular classroom, teachers explain concepts. In a skill lab, teachers facilitate exploration. Students build, experiment, investigate, create, solve problems, work collaboratively. It requires a completely different approach altogether. Most teachers were never trained for this during their professional education. So before anyone blames teachers for an underperforming skill lab, leadership needs to ask an honest question. Did we ever equip our teachers to succeed? In many cases, the answer is no. And that is not a teacher failure. That is a leadership gap. Reason number 3. No curriculum integration. This is perhaps the most important reason of all. The skill lab often operates separately from the rest of the school. Students go to the lab, do an activity, return to class, and that activity has absolutely no connection to what they are learning elsewhere. That is a fundamental mistake. Skill labs were never intended to be an isolated subject. They were designed to be the practical application of classroom learning. When students learn electrical circuits in science, the skill lab should be where they build one. When they learn nutrition, the skill lab should be where they investigate food choices. When they study budgeting or financial literacy, the skill lab should be where they simulate real life decision. Learning becomes powerful when students can apply knowledge. And skill labs exist precisely for that purpose. Without curriculum integration, the skill labs becomes disconnected, and a disconnected skill lab eventually becomes an unused skill lab. A skill lab without curriculum integration is simply an expensive storage room. Reason number 4, the skill lab becomes a showpiece. Now, let me describe a situation I have personally witnessed many times. I walk into a school, the skill lab looks beautiful. Everything is perfectly arranged. The equipment is spotless. The displays are attractive. Then I ask students a simple question. When was the last time you actually used this room? There is silence. Students look at each other. Some smile awkwardly because the honest answer is often during inspection. This happens because sometimes schools focus more on appearance than outcome. The room looks impressive, visitors are satisfied, photographs are principles. If your skill lab becomes active only when an inspection is approaching, then it is not functioning as a skill lab. It is functioning as a display room. And that is a missed opportunity for every student in your school. Reason number 5, there is no accountability system. The 5th reason is simple. There is no accountability. Think about a regular classroom. There are lesson plans, assessments, report cards, parent meetings, progress reviews. Everything is measured. Now think about your skill lab. Can you easily answer these questions? Which classes used the lab this month? What activities were conducted? What skills were developed? What evidence exists of student learning? In many schools, the answer is no, because there is no system. And what does not get measured rarely gets sustained. Every skill lab needs basic accountability tools. First, a monthly usage log. Second, a student portfolio showing evidence of work. Third, a principal review once every month. Just 5 minutes. That is all. Look at the records. Review the activities. Ask one question. Is this room creating real learning experiences for students? Those 3 simple practices can completely change the way a skill lab operates. The 5-step roadmap to fix your skill lab. Now let us talk about solutions. Because the good news is this problem is absolutely fixable. Step 1, assign genuine ownership, not just name on a timetable. Choose someone who believes in experiential learning and empower them to lead. Step 2. Train the teacher. Every one focused workshop can make a significant difference. Never assume someone automatically knows how to run a skill lab. Step 3. Integrate with curriculum. Every skill lab activity should connect to classroom learning. Make the skill lab the application layer of your curriculum. Step number 4. Use it regularly. Not before inspections, not occasionally, not when visitors arrive. Use it every week. Consistency creates culture. Step 5. Track outcomes. Maintain simple records. Review progress. Celebrate success. Prove continuously. That is it. 5 practical steps. No massive budget. No complicated software. No expensive consultants. Just clarity, consistency, and commitment. CBSE Skill Labs are not the problem. Poor implementation is the problem. The idea is excellent. Students need practical learning. Students need opportunities to create, experiment, solve, and apply. The challenge is not the concept. The challenge is execution. Teachers, if you're trying to run a skill lab without support, share this video with your principal. This is a conversation every school needs to have. Principals, if your skill lab is underutilized, you know exactly why. And more importantly, you know exactly where to begin. The solution is not expensive. The solution is intentional. If you found this video useful, share it with your leadership team and fellow educators. Because skill labs should not be rooms that impress visitors. They should be spaces that transform learning. I am Alka Patta. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.